Most of all...
Remember the 1970s horror films, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes that got a cult following? Director Rob Zombie drew inspiration from these films and wrote House of a Thousand Corpses, which became a cult film too. The movie's lead villain, Dr. Satan, gained a lot of attention due to his characterization. A similar character of the same name was seen in the early years of cinema, but Rob Zombie's Dr. Satan bears no similarity to that character. Although plots centered around insane physicians and scientists have been seen in many movies, House of a Thousand Corpses was received so well that it got 2 sequels, making it a trilogy of the Firefly family. The first of the trilogy was released in 2003. The movie's lead antagonist, Dr. Satan, became the most memorable character in the series, and it would be a cardinal sin not to share a detailed description of this iconic villain of all time. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
I'm not much of a gossip and this and that, but I have
I know all about what you...
Origins of Dr. Satan. Presenting Rob Zombie's Dr. Satan. Imagine a world-class surgeon who was insane. Dr. S. Quentin Quayle was one such being suffering from insanity, lodged as an intern at Willows County Mental Hospital. He took advantage of his role and used his sadistic practices, such as torturous surgical procedures, and performed brain operations on the inmates. These inmates were his guinea pigs, and he was conducting experiments to convert them into a race of superhumans, until one day the inmates figured out his real intentions. Quayle's heinous wrongdoings gave him the tag of Dr. Satan by the media. He was later taken into the forest by villagers who declared their own way of punishing him by hanging him to death from a tree. But Dr. Satan wasn't dead, because the next day his body was gone, and the peculiarity of his disappearance became a legend in that region. His disappearance is called the Deadwood Mystery. Dr. Satan was alive and had gone underground, operating in a cave below the Firefly's farm, where he continued conducting the same experiments. When Halloween came, the Fireflies sent down victims, through a well, to Dr. Satan, on whom he performed experiments to convert them into, well, sort of superhumans. The ones who survived the experiments and became superhumans stayed as his henchmen. The ones that failed remained in the cave system, although it's unclear what was done to them or what use they were to Dr. Satan. One of the many supporters of Dr. Satan's experiments was Earl Firefly, a product of the Doctor's successful experiments. Role of Dr. Satan in House of a Thousand Corpses. The plot of House of a Thousand Corpses revolves around a group of teenagers, Jerry Goldsmith, Mary Knowles, Denise Willis, and Bill Hudley, out on a road trip to write a book about roadside attractions who end up getting kidnapped and tortured to death. How does this happen? During their journey, they come across a gas station run by Captain Spaulding, who also ran an attraction called Museum of Monsters and Madmen. But the teenagers didn't know that Captain Spaulding and his assistant Ravelli were dangerous criminals who had just killed 2 novice thieves who were attempting to rob their gas station. Captain tells the teenagers about Dr. Satan and his atrocities by taking them on a murder ride, which was part of the attraction in the museum. Curious to know more about the legend of Dr. Satan, they go looking for the tree under which he was hung by the villagers. As they're out there, they encounter the members of the dangerous Firefly family, whose hobby was to subject helpless tourists to heinous torture. Even though Captain Spaulding was the one who had sent the travelers toward the Firefly family, it's unknown how the captain was related to them and why he sent innocent tourists their way. The Firefly family consisted of their daughter Baby, adopted son Otis Driftwood, brother Tiny, Grandpa Hugo, and mother Firefly. The meeting between the teenagers and their family wasn't a chance meeting, but one that was orchestrated by one of the Firefly members by blowing their car's tire with a shotgun. With a flat tire, the teenage travelers were forced to take shelter at the Firefly's home until the tire was repaired. While at the Firefly family's home, members of the family stage a Halloween show for them, during which Baby riles Mary by acting fresh with her husband Bill. Mary leaves in a huff with Bill after learning their car tire had been repaired by Baby's half-brother Rufus. As they leave, Otis and Tiny scare them, dressed as scarecrows, and take them as hostages, where Otis kills Bill and cuts up his body. And at the same time, imprisons Mary and tortures her. They tie up Denise and make her dress as a Halloween doll, and Jerry is scalped for not being able to guess answers to Baby's silly questions. They kill Mary, too. The other teenagers, Jerry and Denise, are forcibly put into a coffin and lowered down into the basement, where they meet the legendary Dr. Satan, who grabs Jerry while Denise makes a dash for the exit. Denise loses her way through the tunnel that was home to Dr. Satan's victims, mutilated corpses, and mental patients. Denise unfortunately lands back in Dr. Satan's den where she sees Jerry lying on the table, where the doctor works on mutilating him alive. Denise is horrified and escapes as the doctor orders his mutilated servant, Earl Firefly, Mother Firefly's separated husband, to catch her but isn't successful. Denise finally gets out, but unfortunately she meets a villain whom she'd mistaken to be a good Samaritan, Captain Spaulding, who gives her a ride in his car. Heaving a sigh of relief that Captain was helping her escape, she dozes off only to wake up back in the doctor's den, tied to the operating table where Jerry was being cut up. Otis, in cahoots with the Captain, had brought her back to the torture cell. The movie ends with Denise staring at death. In the movie, Dr. Satan appears toward the end of the film, but until then, the hype of his atrocities was enough to terrify one and all. Role of Dr. Satan in The Devil's Reject. Since The Devil's Reject narrative was different and centered around the Firefly family, director Rob Zombie didn't think Dr. Satan would be relevant to the narrative. The Doctor did appear in some deleted scenes, wherein Dr. Satan gets wounded during a police shootout and is rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. Brought into the hospital in a comatose state, when the nurse examines him, he suddenly sits up and rips the nurse's throat out and falls back onto the bed. The EKG monitor beeps, depicting that he's alive. Is Dr. Satan real? Dr. Satan is a very old man, confirmed in numerous references made toward him by Otis Driftwood, referring to him as an old bloke. Dr. Satan carries an apparatus that gives him oxygen and has a pair of mechanical arms that help him easily conduct his surgical procedures. His mouth is stitched, making his speech incomprehensible. In the deleted scenes of The Devil's Rejects, he was heard saying some garbled crass words. He's merciless and ruthless, and as previously mentioned, he doesn't even provide anesthesia to the victims during surgery. He wore an apron that had little pockets holding his surgical tools. The apron seemed to be made of some kind of leather. Was it made of human skin? When Captain Spaulding talks about Dr. Satan's murder ride, one sees him in black and white, operating on a mentally ill patient. He wears an executioner's mask and has a light on his head to see things. One theory about the Doctor includes that he didn't exist and was actually Grandpa Hugo of the Firefly family. He was more like a myth. Actor Walter Phelan plays the role of Dr. Satan in the movie. The highlight of his torture was that he operated on his victims live, wherein the victims just died of a cardiac arrest out of sheer disgust and fear. Imagine seeing yourself being cut up by an insane tormentor. Marvelous verdict. Dr. Satan lives up to his name and will remain a horrifying character. The guy even made it to the list of Halloween costumes. Dr. Satan's character gives a peek into the excitement of torture and ruthlessness a human being is capable of, who use the services of pimps like the Firefly family for providing him with human deliveries. Dr. Satan is not for the faint of heart, and only for those who can watch him as entertainment and then shake it off, believing the world is not so horrific. On that positive note, I'll stop talking about him and focus on the good things in the world. Until next time, and if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.